Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TC Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing another unboxing and kind of like mini review of another card game that I've been looking at and kind of just mess around with on my own, and one that I thought would definitely be good enough to share on the channel. It's a card game called Legacy's Allure, as you can see here, and it is a hybrid tabletop card game style game. So it plays similar, not similar, but it's the same style of game as like Genesis Battle of Champions. And you have a deck that you build off of your gold, and then you lay pieces of your deck out like an army onto the board, which I'll show you here in a second. That's in here, and then you battle for the center hex on the board, and you're kind of like, it's like a positioning battle, and you attack each other, you defend, you cast spells, you have armor. So it's very much like almost like chess, but a little bit more in depth, and just really cool. I saw DM Armada tweet about this game on his Twitter, and he was talking about it, and it kind of got me interested in it because I love chess. It's one of my favorite board games, and I love card games that kind of give a different feel than just your average, build your deck, play your game type TCG. And there's also some type of mechanics in this card game, which I'll talk about here in a second, that kind of lend to like a very in-depth experience, but also one that's like very new player friendly in some facts, and I'll kind of talk about that. So this is the starter box. I also got four of the pre-constructed decks as well. I opened up this one already just because I wanted to look at it and make sure I had a good outline of how these look. So I'm gonna go over the Starbucks first, and then we'll kind of look into these pre-constructeds really fast, or I can do the pre-constructeds a different video. Depends how the time goes for this video. I don't want to go too long with it. But yeah, this is a starter box. I'll open up off to the side because my camera's a little close. So I opened this before just to make sure I had everything. I didn't want to be missing anything. So that's why nothing's wrapped. It normally is wrapped, obviously. But the Starbucks starts off with 3 pamphlets that you get. It gives you a rules, a getting started guide, and a lore book. The lore book's pretty good. It's not like super in depth. It's not like this all encompassing lore book about all of the world, but it gives you like a 1-pager on each hero and kind of talks about them. And it's not like how do I put this? It's almost like their paragraph they're writing about themselves, or someone's writing about them. So like, it's like almost like how do I put this? Like a bard is talking about them for a paragraph, right? It's very much like, for millennia, Gath referred only to the arid of the rocky lands to the south. Like, it's almost like someone in a bar is like talking about them for a paragraph, which is pretty cool. Not crazy in depth, but at least gives you a little bit of a feel of each character, and kind of goes through. And the artwork's really sick as well. It's just nice to have this. Not all getting started guides have this, or if they do, it's like really small. So the fact that they even went this far is pretty nice. And then it has some artwork, so that's really cool. Then they have the rule book, which is the second thing I would probably open. This is very simple. They have a QR code to scan the comprehensive rules, which is really nice. And then they kind of just talk about like sheer basic mechanics of the game, what the ability text mean, what does abilities look like on the card. It talks about card types, abilities, and items. Ability cards have X things on them, right? Item cards have X things on them. Then it talks about like, welcome to the game. Here's the components: a battlefield map, 2 kingdoms, 160 gold each, several dice and tokens. Each kingdom is led by a single hero. A draft game consists of 2 phases, the draft and the battle. In the draft, an 80 gold army is created and your kingdom if the battle occurs. So in this game, there's 2 things you can do. Similar like Flesh and Blood, because I know a lot of people here follow me for that. You have Blitz and Constructed, right? Well, in this game, you do also have Blitz and Classic Constructed, and I'll show that in a second. Like, their Blitz version is 50 gold, which is like pre-constructed decks you don't draft. And then you have 80 gold decks, which means you pick from your faction and you draft 80 gold worth of characters to put on the field in order to play. You also have stuff like armor, which costs gold as well. And you have like abilities or like spells that are off the field that you bring onto the field that cost gold as well. So you do all that to make up 80 gold. And that's like where the real strategy in this game comes, where like, because the way drafting works in this game is like, I set out a card, let's say it's worth 10 gold. Then you set out 10 gold or greater worth of cards. And then I set out, and then you set out, and it goes back and forth. So whereas normally when you construct a deck, you're constructing and like pre-preparing for things in the sideboard. In this game, you have a faction with 160 gold, and then you start drafting, and basically depending on what your opponent is playing and like what they're also drafting, you change up what you're taking from your 160 gold army and putting it onto the 80 gold playfield. So that's kind of the cool thing about this. Talks about combat, talks about card types in here as well, melee attacks, just very simple stuff. Talks about the center hex. Like I said, there's a center hex in the middle of the game board, which I'll show here in a second, that you have to control after round 7. If you control it, you win the game. So it's not just about killing your opponent, it's about controlling space as well. And then finally, they have the game starter guide. This is the more comprehensive one. It doesn't have every little thing in the game, but it does have a lot. It gives you like preset things to use and where to put them. So it just kind of like walks you through the first game / first turn. It tells you where to place them, gives you an overview, tells you how to win. Then it literally walks through an entire round with you, so you kind of have an idea. But it's very simple. Each unit has 3 things they can do. They can move, they can attack, or they can use an ability. If they do, you exhaust it, turn it to the right like every other card game, and then that unit is done that round. And then the way the round works is you each move 1 unit at a time, alternating, similar to chess or checkers or something like that. And then the round ends when all units have been exhausted or both players have passed, right? So that's how that works. And basically walks you through it, gives you a good idea. The game is not overly complicated. It really isn't. It kind of looks daunting at first. The biggest complication of the game is you're going to have to learn the keywords. That's basically it. And then at the very end, it gives you 2 blitz armies. Like I said, this is like the pre-constructed 50 gold thing where you don't draft. And then it has 80 gold, which technically this is the draft level, but they give you 2 to just draft, quote, quote. And so you can see how those feel as well. So it's pretty nice. Really good. Not every little thing is in these rules. I personally don't like when people review card games or like board games, or not board games, when people review card games like the starter boxes and they're like, not every single little rule is in this. I personally don't think starter boxes should have every little single rule. A starter box should have what you need to start playing and like enjoy the game. And then you learn all the little nuances later, personally. Like if a starter box can get me to 70% solution on a game, I'm happy. So then in the box here, it's pretty well laid out. You have like your 2 decks to play against each other with. You have all the dice and stuff you're going to need for that to track things. And then you have your playmat. The playmat, I can't obviously delve out all the way. I'll delve it out off screen a little bit so I can show you. Sorry about that. I like the playmat. Personally, it's like this felt material. The way the board works, let's see if I can pull out enough to where you can see like a partial of the board. So the board's like, I'd say the length of like 3 playmats or 2 playmats wide and like 2 playmats long. So it's like this, and you place a card down like in this slot. So when the card moves, it moves into this, and they can move in any direction. So that's how it works. I really like the playmat. Most playmats and most starter decks are like paper plastic. This is like a felt material. Yes, it's very thin, so it can scrunch up a little bit, but overall, like to have this instead of just like a giant paper playmat is pretty nice. Personally, I enjoyed that. It was definitely a plus for me. And then you have the dice here, all the dice you need to start playing. It gives you some named dice, so it's like broken or like keyword dice, basically is the best way to put it, because there are some keywords in this deck. As you can see, as I don't feel like open this, but it's like hedge. See if I can get it to focus. I probably won't focus for you, but it's like hedge, silence, broken, battle fury, buff. So like different keywords. It has normal dice, obviously, and then these dice. So the reason they're different colors is because in this game, like you can use mana, you can lose life, you can be poisoned, things of that nature. So they gave you different color dice to be able to represent that, which is really nice. The blue, obviously, probably for mana. Red is for when you get health taken away. Black could be for poison, and then so on and so forth. So that's how that works. So you have those, and then you have the 2 decks. So in this dot box, they give you Carthel and they give you Tristan. Tristan's very much like every warrior in every card game, very tanky, has a lot of health, a lot of shield, can buff himself, and his characters can buff people around them to keep them in the game longer. That's kind of like his play style. Whereas Carthel is a like orc wizard, so very powerful and offensive, but his defensive capabilities might not be as great. So as you look through this, Like you have your attacker or defender thing. This basically is saying if you're going first or second, and there's mechanics like if you start second one turn, you're going to start first the next turn. Or if you end going second one turn, there's mechanics to try to get your way around this to like start first or second every turn. But you can go about that later in a different. But yeah. So as you can see, like here's some of the cards like Adept, Tempest Mage. I'll try to go up closer for these. Adept, Tempest Mage. Come on. Ally Pathing, and it has Lightning Strike, it has Thunderclaps. Those are abilities. So like this character, if it's on the field, can do a couple things. It can move, it can attack, or it can use an ability. This is its melee ability, which means like if you're right beside someone in a hex, how much you shoot for. This is its ranged ability, which means it can shoot over it could shoot over 2 hexes and hit somebody, or it can use Thunderclap, which is deal 2 magic damage to a target unit. So that's really nice. So yeah, they have that. And then you have, so basically you have like creature cards or character cards, right? You have spells, which you'll know they're spells because they don't have like this bottom row, and those are off the field, but they cost gold to use or like put in your deck. But like these are the spells that you can put on the field. So like one spell is Tristan gets +1 power during combat and enemies with enemy units of max 6 health or more. So if he's going against a really bulky enemy, you give him Braveheart and he has +1 power, so +1 damage. And then you have like another one, which is a passive ability. These are both passives, which is at the start of battle, Tristan gets shield 2, so he gets 2 extra shield. This one is not passive, so combinable. Target adjacent enemy unit is disarmed this round, which means it doesn't have armor, by what I remember. And then +1 action is not combined. Use this ability only once per round. So like you can use these spells, and then you have more creature cards, and then you have, as you can see, you go through like this is very like warrior, like basic class stuff when it comes to like your normal lore and like these type fantasy games. And then you have your main hero, similar to Flesh and Blood, your character Tristan. He has 6 health, which is a good amount. He also starts with 2 shields, so he has like 8 health. He can move 2 spaces per turn, and he attacks for 3 unless you buff him. So you have Tristan here. Really cool. I like the artwork. The artwork is very simple, but not in a bad way. It's very much like, you know, let's skip through a little bit here. Like you have Heavy Knight, and I'm sure they'll get even more in depth. I mean, this is similar to how Welcome to Wraith was as well. High Priest, Longbow Archer. You got a normal priest. So priest and like anyone that deals magic has mana. So in order to use their abilities, you have to use like 1 mana, stuff like that. Even if I put this down, it'll focus better. So you have Shield Bash, Pegasus, Spellbreaker, so stuff like that, right? So you can see all these cost gold. So in a 50 pre-constructed one, you'll just have 50 gold worth or less worth of people or a deck, and then you play it in 80 gold. So like if I want to play Spellbreaker, he's really good, but he costs 8. Or like a Heavy Knight that has 6 health, 4 attack, and 3 movement with charging with 1 armor. Really good piece. That's literally 1/8 of my unit. So your hero doesn't cost anything, which is really nice. Each hero can have up to 3 armor slots. It's like in this pre-constructed, there's 5 armors that you can use. So similar to Flesh and Blood. That's why I like this game too. It has a lot of similarities. You can use armor like healing potions, stuff like that, for your character. Like Enchanter's Boots gives you +1 movement, +1 mana. So just really good overall. And you can see like how much of the backpack slots it takes up. Felguard's Battle Suit gives you +1 armor, +1 magic resist, and +1 health regen. So keeping Tristan on the field super long. Just overall really kind of simplified but really useful cards. And like the more in depth of this game gets to where you start drafting, because like when I draft and let's say I'm using Tristan, let's say I put down, you know, a Grand Wizard for 15, and then they're like, okay, well, he just put down something that does a lot of arcane damage. I'm just going to use arcane because that's what most people on this channel are going to understand, magic damage or arcane damage. Then I'm like, okay, I got to put something that helps negate that. Then you playing Carthel, you might put one of your cards down that helps counter the Grand Wizard. And then maybe I play like an Enforcer next and stuff like that. And then so on and so forth. So that's how the game pretty much works. It's really cool. I really enjoy it. I like the chess aspect of it. And one of the main things I like about this game when you're comparing it to other TCGs, right, is that other TCGs, you don't know what's in someone's deck. When you hit turn one, let's go, you don't know what's in someone's deck. And in this game, if you can learn the decks, you're going to know what their army has access to. What you don't know is what they're going to play. But there's no, like, how do I put this? There's no hidden information, right? Like when you start the game, let's just say, I know these are abilities. Let's just start the game like this, right? Like if this is my army and I'm going up against somebody, and then I have these spells on the side, right? Like these 4 spells, and then I have armor, like you know what's on my field, right? And you know what's going on. There's no hidden information, which some people will like, some people don't like. I like it because now there's no like trap card. There's no like hidden mechanic. There's no nothing that's going to surprise me. I just have to use my own wit and my own strategy to beat the person, right? And if you make a mistake, like it's not because a person pulled a trick on you. It's because you just didn't strategize properly in your movement, right? So I personally like that. All the devil's in the details when it comes to drafting. But as far as like once the game starts, like you know what their army has, I know what your army has, and you know what my army has, and you kind of go from there. So like this is Carthel. He's an Orkai wizard. He only has 3 health. Now if your hero dies, I don't believe you lose the game. I have to double check. At least I haven't been playing that way. But he's just a really powerful character that gets off the field. So like he has a couple of different cool abilities. He has like chain lightning, which is pretty powerful. His chain lightning ability basically says you deal 3, 2, and 1 magic damage to 3 targeted chain units. All chain units must be within within the cast range. The cast range being 2. So basically he can deal like 3, 2, and so if he gets in between like a bunch of people or like close to a bunch of people, he can like deal 3, 2, and 1 damage. So it's really, really powerful. So he can deal a lot of damage at once, but he's not as tanky as like Tristan is. A lot of his cards are more damage focused. As you can see the difference in like the type, you have Skoric Hellion, Skoric Sorcerer, Spell Shock. So very like, arcane magic focus, very like, demonic focused almost, very goblin-esque. So you can see kind of the difference in like what each one looks like. And so, yeah, that's what the star deck or the star box comes with. There's also comprehensive rules online. You can play this on Tabletop Simulator as well. You can play it digitally. You also can join their Discord. They're very active in there as well. I highly suggest going and do that. I'll put that down in the description below so you all can get in there and just start talking to people. Tell them you're new to the game. Tell them I sent you if you want to. Like TCG Talk sent me from his YouTube channel. Hopefully, we can get more people trying new TCGs out and trying new things out. I'm really enjoying it, and I think that you would too. I just like card games that are different. That's why I've really gotten into different ones. Flesh and Blood's still my favorite. I'm not gonna lie, but like for competitive, but when it comes to just having fun with friends and really enjoying it, and if they can get this game really dynamic with the card pool, then you're gonna start seeing some really, really cool stuff, and some really in-depth strategy go on. So hopefully it continues. Oh, one thing I forgot to show that I really want to show at the end. I hate that I did this at the end actually. That I really enjoyed this nuanced thing is on the back of the card of every card. So like you have keywords, right? Allied pathing. Let's see if I can get this focus. Come on, allied pathing right here. If you anything that has a keyword on it, if you turn it over, it'll tell you what the keyword does. So this unit may move through other allied units. It does that for every single card in the game. So this has combinable, charging, power, action. You turn it over, combinable. This unit can move and use this ability in a single action. Right? So you can move and use the action. Charging, this unit can move and attack in a single action. Battle Fury, and then it tells you what Battle Fury means. So like if you're a little bit not 100% sure on what's going on, it does a really good job at helping you out because like it doesn't matter seeing the back of the card in this game. So they really utilize the back of the card properly, in my opinion. So it's really nice. But yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed this. The video's at 20 minutes. I don't want to go too long with it. I don't like long videos personally, but I did get 4 other pre-constructed decks here. So if you want me to go over those, I can go over those in a different video. I gladly will kind of give you the difference in what I see from a deck building perspective, kind of like what each one's focused on. And I even can add Carthel and Tristan in there. That way I can give you an idea of like maybe which one you should get, or like not which one you should get, but which one would be best for your play style. But yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not, totally fine. Go to another creator, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people playing card games. And I will see you all next time on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.